Our youths in the Niger Delta have been challenged to protect oil and gas pipelines in the region instead of vandalizing them. The request comes from Acting Managing Director of the NDDC, Mrs. Ibim Seminatari, who asked them to refrain from violence in the course of their demands for justice. She made the call while addressing leaders and members of the Ijaw Youth Council during their courtesy visits to the NDDC headquarters in Port Harcourt. Mrs. Seminatari assured the delegation that the Niger Delta belonged to them, and so they should protect what belongs to them, including the oil and gas pipelines.
And your neighbor is hungry, your chicken is not safe. So we must begin to guarantee the safety of everybody's chicken and making sure that everybody in the region has access to be able to create wealth. Now, if we then find those who are unwilling to apply themselves constructively and positively, I expect the IYC to fish them out. Because that is your responsibility. You cannot protect bad behavior.
We condemn totally the destruction of pipelines in the Niger Delta. It is one area that this leadership have always condemned. I've always said that destroying pipelines is not the best way to send a message across, because when you are the government said to what happens to the environment, you have destroyed it, destroyed your own heritage. For me, it's a crime against humanity, and that's how we have reviewed it.
A few days after the Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka called for an emergency economic conference to resolve the country's financial challenges, some Nigerian youths have expressed concern about the state of the nation's economy. The youths who gathered at a forum in Abuja to examine the government's management of the economy are seeking improved development of the non-oil sector.
The Play Forum is a youth forum to discuss the way government is run and say what they would have done different if they were in government. The nation's economy came under spotlight as the youth expressed both their dissatisfaction with the current economic state and the 2016 budget and asked government to diversify the economy.
If I was in government today, or if we were in government today, I would say we should focus more on diversifying our economy. Because if Nigeria had done that prior to today, we wouldn't be facing the effects that we're facing with oil prices. I believe that politics shouldn't run economics, but rather economics should run politics. And that is not the current situation that we see in Nigeria today.
When we heard that the 2016 budget was going to be a budget to stimulate the economy, and we heard 7 trillion, a lot of people were not even bothered by it, because we felt a lot of that was going to go into infrastructure, a lot of that was going to go directly into creating jobs. But when we started to see the finer details of the budget, everybody got scared, especially since we're going to be borrowing half of that budget.
Others in the group preferred other short-term solutions to boost the economy, including suggestions about blocking wastages and increasing the net on taxation.
In the short term, what we need to target, we need to stop the leakages. Oil is not our only export. We export commodities whose prices have actually risen in the foreign markets. So we do cocoa, we do cashew, we do some other products. What do we need to do? We need to start doing value-added processing. I mean, it makes no sense getting cashew, exporting cashew, and importing cashew back. That is actually the craziness that is going on in Nigeria.
There must be constant review of the system in government. You must constantly ensure that, one, we don't have ghost workers. I don't know if it's possible to eliminate it, but I know that there's effort to do that. Every year we hear this number of ghost workers have been brought out of the system. So I'm hoping that by the time we get to a system where we can proudly say, because of technology of today, there are no more ghost workers in the system. That's number one. Number two, taxes. No matter what, we need to increase our tax net. I'm not a proponent for increasing taxes, but I am a supporter of increasing the tax net, meaning more people should actually be brought under the tax net.
Other issues discussed by the youth include the Treasury single account, the current exchange rate, as well as the need for government to reduce the cost of governance.
Over 500,000 school children in Benue State have been forced out of school since intense fighting broke out in 2012 between farmers and herdsmen in 6 local government areas. The alarming statistics of the drop in school enrollment were revealed by the executive chairman of the State Universal Basic Education Board in Benue, Mr. Pt.3.
Parades and march pasts like this have not been held in Guma, Agatu and other local government areas which have come under attack from herdsmen in the last 4 years. Public schools, primary healthcare centers and residential homes were all destroyed by the rampaging herdsmen, with tales of horror and brutal murder, leaving school-age children homeless and internally displaced.
The enrollment ratio in this local government, and someone earlier remarked, remains the worst. I'm sure here and Agatu, they are ranking same.
We have gone around and we have seen that the primary schools, starting from the crèche to every other level, and especially covering the first 9 years of basic education, has come a matter that people have turned it into whatever kind of a thing to make money. It has encouraged a lot of people drop out.
Now it's the flag off of the school enrollment program in Guma local government area, and the governor leads the presentation of instructional materials to school children through the State Universal Basic Education Board.
This year we have stepped up so many training sessions that are going to be vigorous because we want to ensure quality services delivery to our children. And for that reason, we believe that our schools shall rise again and become better than what we have found on ground.
With a symbolic presentation of flags to Council Chairman, Governor Samuel Otom seeks to encourage parents and local education authorities to drive the campaign in rural communities. The SUBEB chairman also reveals that the state enrollment dropped drastically due to the persistent crisis.
In 1999, when UB was launched, the pupil enrollment in our public primary schools stood at 1.1 million. In the later years, particularly the period from 2011 to 2015, the pupil enrollment figure reduced drastically from 1.1 million to 643,191. This situation calls for a revolutionary approach to post-enrollment in our public primary schools.
Hopefully, law enforcement agencies should be able to secure the affected areas, and with the flag off of the school enrollment campaign, it's expected that it will yield positive results.
Back here in Lagos, residents of Yeye Street in Iwaya area are asking the state to intervene in the blockade of the only access road into their community. They say the development follows the transfer of ownership of a piece of land which links them to other communities. Our correspondent, Innie Thompson, reports.
Yeye Street in Iwaya, Makoko area of Lagos is a community of about 30 houses which include residents, shops and schools. The street could be described as a close, as on one end buildings and a canal block the thoroughfare. For years, residents have depended on a road which links Yeye to Pedro Street. However, by 2015, after a long period of issues, there was a claim of transfer of ownership of a piece of land which covers part of their street and Pedro Street. Subsequently, a fence was put up in the place of their only access.
We were in the court right from 95. He wanted to block the street. We did not allow him to do it. So he went ahead and brought in a team of policemen from area C then to come and arrest all the landlords here. So before we were allowed to come home that very day, it was around evening time. So before we get down, they have already fenced part of the road. Half of the road has been fenced. So we were advised by the police by then that when we get home, we should not go and make any trouble. I say, because they delay us from morning till evening without attending to us. Okay, when we get home that day, half of the street has been blocked. There's nothing we can do.
Now their exit and entrance is through some compounds which connects them to Pedro Street, and they can only access it by foot between 6 a.m. and 9 p.m.
all the waste truck used to come in. Now all this area, our toilet is full. There's no way in which you can flog it. The Loma people, they used to come in. We have the receipt, the Loma receipt. We have all up to last year before the road was blocked. Loma used to come in. Sewage truck used to come in. We park car in front of my house here. We all have cars. We park it outside now, so we cannot bring in cars.
Residents say they are getting frustrated as the only response they have gotten from series of letters and complaints to the government are the markings on the wall. Channels Television visited the said new owner of the land, Alhaji Wahab Adamson. Although he was in his apartment in Iwaya area, he refused to comment on the matter on camera. He, however, referred us to the court and the state government. We visited the Commissioner of Physical Planning and Urban Development, who acknowledges the existence of the matter.
For you to have seen our mark there, that means the ministry is working. We have been there. We have served the notices. Nobody has rights. I repeat, no one has right to close the access meant for a neighborhood.
For now, the residents of Yeye Streets need access road and hope that someone somewhere will do the needfuls.